Hello and welcome to Healing the Healer, the series. We're still looking at the art of New Age healing, and I have a special guest with me today. And this is our very first face-to-face, so I feel so honored to have special, talented, multifaceted business owner, he calls himself, and entrepreneur, right? Okay.
Broadcaster.
And a broadcaster. So on today's episode we welcome Kutlwano Mnyepz. Mnyepz. So who do we call you? Oh, I actually forgot Cornelius.
No, it's fine. Mnyepz will do.
We need to put all the names on the ID.
Hi, Mnyepz, right?
Okay, so we'll call him Mnyepz as he calls himself, or how he introduces himself. And that's exactly how he introduced himself to me. How many years ago? How long have I known you?
I think it's about, I'm not sure, is it 10?
Sure.
Over 10, or just below 10, but between 5 and 10 years.
Time flies, right?
Yeah, I'm certain between 5 and 10.
Time truly flies. But before I tell you all about the friendship and how I got to know this many-name and multi-role business person, thank you for joining me.
Sure.
Thank you for being my very first guest on my face-to-face attempt.
Thank you.
In this interviews.
Using me as a guinea pig, but thank you. It's alright, it's alright.
And providing the space and the drinks, guys.
It's gonna take forever, this thing.
It's
gonna finish my bar plus, yeah.
And yes, the interview will be slower so that I can keep getting more drinks and we'll take breaks. No. Welcome, Cornelius Mnyepz.
Yes.
Please tell the people your story.
So, you've now mentioned all my names. I'm a father of a 9-year-old who's now soon going to be turning 10. I'm a husband to a beautiful wife. I'm a spirit having a human experience. I'm evolving. I'm evolving as a human being, in my experience. And something very, I don't want to say tragic, but very big has happened in my life, I was retrenched last year. So going through that evolution and changing industry, changing mindset. So I'm going through that healing process as we speak right now.
Awesome. All right. Welcome and really thank you. I never thought we'll get to this point, and here we are doing a face-to-face, and we are going to look at the different roles that you went through to get to this point.
Yeah, so at this point in time, look, I own a business.
Okay.
I've established my own clothing line.
Oh yes. So not only did I get a venue and drinks, I also got to wear this beautiful sweater. I love this. I think I'm going to do face-to-face from now on. Continue with your different roles, my friend. I get to earn so much from it.
So I've started this new line of clothing. I'm now an entrepreneur selling clothes.
Yes.
The name of the company is Gap, right? So that's the first thing that I do. The other thing that I do, I also do broadcasting.
Yes.
At a radio station, Top Media. So I host an entrepreneurial show where we interview people, startups, side hustles, but the idea is to unleash people's potential and give them a platform, so that they can give them a billboard. Yeah. So those are the different roles, and over and above that, I'm a dad, and I think that's the first role that I do, being a father and being a husband, before anything else.
Awesome. Okay, so to our father and husband, what inspires you in general?
What inspires me is when my time ends in this world, and I meet my maker.
Yes.
Right. I have this belief that he's going to show me the person that he sent to earth to be. So I'm going to meet who I was supposed to be. So that's what inspires me. It's for me to unveil all the talents that I have and to use them, most importantly. So it's to discover my purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do on earth? So I want, by the time I get to meet my maker, when he says you're supposed to be a CEO, then tick, you're supposed to unlock doors for people, tick, you're supposed to help. So I want to do those things right now while I'm on earth. So I don't want to get there and they tell me I was supposed to be a billionaire. And then I'm like, how? And I miss the person.
We could have been sharing all this money. Right. Oh my gosh.
So that's what keeps me inspired, if anything. That's the first thing. The second thing is my son. I believe that he learns by seeing and watching more than what I say to him and tell him. So whatever I try to teach him, I do my best to also do. So I always tell him to choose the hard way. So I always also choose the hard way. So that's what keeps me on my toes, is that someone is watching my steps. So I can't give up because someone is always watching me.
Yeah. Okay, so that sounds like a great motivation. But why choose the hard way?
Why choose the hard way? You know, when I went through retrenchment, I went through depression. Okay. All right. Immediately when the news were broken down to me, regarding the restructure, I closed my laptop. I don't want to open it anymore. I thought of a way out. What could I do? What should I do? Yes. What talents do I have? Weaknesses? Do a whole SWOT analysis. Yeah. And I needed something that I could fight for. And I started reading books of people that have gone through the Holocaust, survivors of the Holocaust. Wow. And all these people, the similarity in all their stories is that they had hope. That's all they had. Through the atrocities that they went through, hope is all they had. Okay. And that's what keeps me alive. It's the hope. And that's what I sell on my show. And that's what I think my life is about. It's about hope. It's selling hope to people, to myself and to other people in general. It's just to give hope. So that's what keeps me motivated. So why hard, to answer your question, is that life is hard. Life is not easy, And I've noticed that things that come easy, also go easy. Yes. They just fit. And however, whatever we work for and we put our effort and time and, tend to last. And we tend to preserve and to nurture and take care of it. So yeah, in this journey I just thought, let me do something different. My chapter and my tenure in my corporate life perhaps has ended. Yes. And now I need to start a new chapter, So but I'm not only starting from zero, but I'm starting with experience. Okay. So I'm taking it as I was being prepared for a new chapter. And this is my new chapter. Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. So most of the people that I've interviewed before are people that I have met via social media. And the difference with me and you is that we did not meet in social media or through social media. We met back in the corporate world, back in the corporate space when we were suited and we had to behave in a certain way. And then we got to note or discover the friendship and the fun side. Because if you need to know, Mnyepz over here is the king of memes. He sends posts.
No, I'm a sheriff. Okay. I'm a
content creator.
Yeah, it's serious. I distribute content, and you must understand with content, we work with timelines. You can't send expired content. So memes must fly.
When they talk about a frog, you need to have that meme on the frog same time.
I can't be posting a frog 2 weeks later. It's dull. It's expired news. So data and information that is received today must be distributed.
It must be distributed. Okay. So we have the king of memes that distributes and shares a whole lot of those funny jokes. How else do you use social media?
My usage of social media has evolved. I think at some point I used to share my experiences with going to weddings and just the life and holidays and so forth, which I still do. I also used it to share a whole lot of inspiration stuff. So in my previous role I had a team that I used to look after and lead, and one of my ways of leading was to inspire my team, and so therefore I used to read a whole lot of biographies or self-help books or very inspirational, and listen to talks and so forth. So I used to then post those. There's another side of me. I used to read a whole lot of I still do, well, not as much, but reading of the Bible. So I used to post a lot of scriptures and so forth. So if you look at my timeline, there's a portion where there is jive or lots of it, and then all of a sudden there is this inspirational Mnyepz, and then it changes, you know. So right now I'm using it to promote my business.
Okay.
You know what I do, my broadcast. So it's so I use it for various stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on your social media, you'll also get to get the options and the variety of these beautiful items.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for my shorts and my hoodie. He's got beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. What has been the impact, though, of social media if we're thinking online life? Because sometimes you find that people tend to represent themselves differently online versus real life. How is Mnyepz different online versus the Mnyepz that is the husband in this house?
I tend to share whatever is on my mind at a point in time. You know, if I'm reading a book and I want to share that, I do. If I don't feel like it, I don't.
Okay.
You know, certain parts of my life that are very private, I won't share, depending on how private it is.
Okay.
You know, so at some point I will share what we do as a family with my wife and the conversations that we have.
Yes.
Sometimes I won't. So it really depends on the mood, on how I feel.
Okay.
Sometimes, I mean, I ask permission to even post my son, you know, so I don't just post it. So, you know, so that's the other part that I hold very dear and very private. So, but I'll ask permission first from him if he's comfortable that I post his photo. And so it really depends on how I feel at a point in time. But I'm a very sociable or, you know, sharing person. You know, sometimes I share what I eat. Sometimes I won't. Yeah, so you know, so but there's spaces and times where I feel which I know this is very private, so it's not public material, so I won't put it on. Also depending on the people that I'm with. So, but there's also another phenomenon that, you know, people tend to, or we tend to think that people need to see certain images of us or a persona.
Yes.
You know, so we then need to live up to a certain standard that we've made up in our own minds.
Yes.
You know, so sometimes I keep myself out of that, so you know I don't have to. You know, so yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. It does. I think sometimes people think that you need to look a certain way because that's what's trending. So, for example, if you use Instagram and it's all about holidays, it's all about the food you eat, it's all about popping champagne. So now people in real life put themselves through the hurdles of, let me get the champagne. Now I must be seen with a boulevard. Let me be seen with a Bonanza champagne. Let me, you know, just so I'm also trending, so that, you know, I keep up with the times and keeping up with the Joneses. And it doesn't always work, because when you don't have those things, or if it's not your lifestyle, then who are you outside of that environment, you know, of those numbers and the likes. But I'm glad that it is working. The social media and the online work is working in terms of your real life. It's helping you promote your business. It is helping you share with people, because you do love sharing. And it is also helping us get inspired and motivated, because you inspire me.
Serious?
Yes, you do.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you do, my friendship, you do. And this is the beginning of our friendship. I think I remember a guy walking into the office, and he talks a lot. So this was the beginning. So then we progressed to the guy that I had to give reports to, and he was very strict, guys, let me tell you. He'd be strict about how the report looks, if the numbers are correct, and the people in my department also had to be guided on how to fill out the report. So that was the person that I met, the beginning for me of Mnyepz.
Okay.
But where would you say the person that sits here began?
Sure. I think the person that sits here began a long time ago. When he was a tiny micro what, you know, somewhere in a sack. Somewhere, you know. And this person has been evolving. You know, I mean, when I met you, I was doing a certain role.
Yes.
In the bank, and by the time I left the bank, I was doing a total different role.
Yes.
So for me, it has been role after role, but different roles.
Yes.
And for me, it's been the beginning all over again. You know, I've been studying over, and proving myself and learning how to do things differently. Because of the role that I would do at a certain point in time, I would then behave in a certain way.
Yes.
So, I mean, at the time that I met you, I'm sure my enneagram would have been a a blue, if not a
yes.
red, you know, because
analyst,
yeah,
get to the point.
Yeah, you know. So I know at that time I was an analyst and very blue. But before then I was leading a team and I was pushing targets and stuff.
Yeah, so you're very red too.
Yeah, I was also red and pushing, you know, wanting to meet my goals.
Yes.
So, but at this point in time in my life, I still have a blue, but I'm not so hard on myself.
Okay.
I'm not so much of a perfectionist. I'm trying and I'm doing my best to, you know, hold back, because I wouldn't have started this. I wouldn't have done, you know, what I do now, because I would want everything to be clear and crisp, you know. So I'm learning to live with myself and my expectations and how to do things differently, because it's a different space. With COVID happening, how I relate to my family now, being in the home with my family, it's not different, you know, because I'm not the guy that used to, you know, bring them up, you know. I'm now a guy that, you know, that does the school run. You know, I take my son to school, I pick him up, I make him lunch. I need to ensure that his hair is combed, did he brush his teeth, you know, he's dressed properly, you know. I'm the guy now that does his projects, you know, ensures that they're done. And before I never did those things, because I was always at work. I used to do the late nights and leave work late, blah, blah, blah.
Of course.
So now the roles are turned, you know. So I see life differently now.
Awesome.
You know, I mean, if we take it back, the good things that I love or that I am grateful for, you know, for COVID hitting, is having to spend time in my own home.
Of course.
Because we spend so much money on these things.
Making all of this happen.
Yeah, but we don't get to spend the time.
Yes.
Right? That's the first thing. The other thing, we don't also build them for us to spend that time in.
Of
you
course.
know? So I'm glad that with the lockdown, we managed to spend so much time with our families. I haven't spent so much time with my family, my wife and son. You know, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
It's sad that what happened to me, I was retrenched, but the takeout in it, you know, what I'm grateful for is having to spend so much time with them. You know, so that I think it has made me a better parent. I think it has made me a better lover. I'm hoping it has.
Oh,
you know?
We'll have to ask Dumi about that. Should we call her friend?
So to answer your question, friend, is that I'm a beginning. You know,
There's always new beginnings.
Exactly, and I mean, I remember when I met you. You know, it started as, you know, we sat in the same area, ended up in business partners, expecting, you know, input and reports, but that developed into a friendship, and, you know, and that developed and became what it is now. It's been over 5 to 10 years now, you know. So it's been a great journey.
Awesome.
Sure.
Awesome. And with every beginning comes a breakthrough. You know, there comes a point in your life where things were great, things were perfect, you had a perception about yourself, you kind of decided what roles you play. You know, this is my role as a husband. Like you said, now things have changed. You do school runs, you make sure there's food, you make sure the hair is combed. But it wasn't always that. You know, there's that point that every part of you gets broken down, and you find your way to go through that phase. And when you go through that phase, that's where you find your power. That's where you break yourself up as a blue. You analyze, and then you overanalyze at some point. But then you need to break those pieces down. You need to break the authoritarian down that is a red. And out of those ashes comes the creative person that created these items. Comes the creative person that thought, you know, I don't need to be stuck at home. I can be on radio and be broadcasting. So, do you recall what was your breakthrough?
I think I was sitting on my bed, you know, feeling sorry for myself and trying to figure out where to from here. Because after a 16-year stint, you know, in the corporate industry, I didn't anticipate, you know, that it would happen when it happened or how it happened. I think what hurt me the most is how it happened more than anything. So putting those pieces together. So yes, my ego was broken, I was flat, and you know, and I had nowhere to go. I couldn't go down any further. I was at bottom.
And at this point, you no longer the, how do they used to score us? You're an overachiever, you're an A performer, exceed.
You know, at that time it did not matter anymore. You know, so I had to think and say, you know what? At this point in time, a tendon is a tendon. Whether I'm getting it as a salary or whether I'm getting it as a payment of a garment or whether my dad is giving it to me, still a tendon. So I had to unshackle myself and take off the epaulets and the roles that I previously had, and said, you know what, it doesn't matter now. You know, let's start over.
Yes.
You know, so the perfectionist, I had to park it, shelve it on the side, and said, okay, what can I do? And it doesn't matter if it flops. Let me just try something.
Yeah.
Let me have a purpose to wake up. Let me have something to wake up to. You know, let me own my thing.
Yeah.
Because I felt to go to, let me fight for Kutlwano. You know, one day I was dropping my son off at school.
Yes.
As I drop him off, he walks and they're going to sanitize him and take his temperature, blah blah blah. And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, you know what, I cannot give up for this guy, because what he sees in me is something great. He sees a hero, he sees a dad, he sees a role model, he sees someone that he looks up to. You know, so if I'm having thoughts of giving up, I cannot entertain them at this point in time. So that was my breakthrough. Looking at him and saying, you know what, I can't just waste this life.
Of course.
You understand? Looking at my wife and saying, you know what, we've had plans, or we've got plans for our future, for our lives, for, you know, I cannot just give up. Of course, such thing has happened to me. First thing, I'm not the first person to have experienced it. Mzansi has experienced a lot of it. So the world is not going to stop because Kutlwano has been retrenched. Yeah. You understand? And one day I was walking with her and we were taking a stroll, and I said to her, I can't wait for the day that I am interviewed and I say the best day of my life was when I was retrenched. Okay. Because that's when the Kutlwano was birthed or rebirth or reborn, whatever. Yeah. You understand? So sometimes when the creator wants to take it to another level, it's going to be painful. It's like a caterpillar when it turns into a butterfly. It's not an easy process, right? And if you try help it, you actually break it because it won't fly, because you break the wing. So you have to let it break the shell and, you know, unleash itself out of the shell. So it's what I was going through. And I had to remember that analogy and say, dude, you're also going through the same thing right now. And you're only 37 years. If you want to live up until 75 plus, you're only starting out.
You adjust.
You adjust.
You're still an infant in the process of adulting.
So I think in a lot of instances is chasing timelines. Yeah. You know, chasing age and saying by 35 I want to drive this, I want to stay here, blah blah blah. And if those things don't happen, and then we start suffocating in our own goals, we understand.
And we feel like we're drowning.
Exactly. And when we start having a grateful heart, counting our blessings. You know, having a roof over my head, I have a bed, clean water, I've got clothes, we've got meals. You know, my son is able to go to school. I've got a family. I still have my parents. We survived COVID. My in-laws survived COVID. You know, so those are so many things that I'm grateful for, to say, yeah, something hectic has happened, but there's so much to be grateful for. That tells us the outlook and the perception. It makes it different. You know, it creates positivity and saying, you know, there's so much to live for and to fight for. You know, there's hope. Yeah. Sure.
I agree. I think sometimes we think this is the end. And I don't know why. And actually, we don't even know what people say. We don't even give them a chance to say anything. Yeah. But we're thinking about Dubazotin.
Yeah. So we create perceptions in our minds of how people see us. Yes. Right? So because I was drinking, or I posted a meal in say Cape Town, a Cape Bay. Yeah, then I feel good. I need to always be a Cape Bay when I go on holiday. Therefore, that is the standard. Yeah. So it's the standard that I'm setting for myself. Yourself. That I'm thinking people are seeing me in that way. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes people don't even think about you. They didn't
even see a post from you, so they've forgotten you exist.
Yeah. So that's why for me now, I'll post lobster today. Yeah. But tomorrow I'll also post good, life will hit you. I'm eating peanut butter today. And such is life.
It is.
You understand? So, and maybe some other people's lives, it's caviar, what all the way, and dom all the way. But my life is not, today is oros, tomorrow is appetizer. And it's okay. Yeah. We understand. It's my life. Yeah. We understand. Yes. I'm not competing with anyone but myself to be the better version of me. So I'm not looking at my neighbor and say, hey, his roof is now green. Hey, now I must also
now,
paint.
yes.
No.
What's the better color than green?
Because now I don't know how he got there and how you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, even why green?
So we are chasing these timelines, and we are looking at these uncles and aunties that have made it, that are staying in these gated estates, right? And we aspire to them because they drive these big cars and cabriolets and convertibles, and they are wearing these belts, shiny belts and
LVs,
you understand?
and the GGs.
Yeah, and so and it's good to aspire, right?
It is.
But we don't know how they achieved it and how they got there. And you may find Uguti, out of 10 deals they make, or they try and maybe 2 out of 10 pulls through.
Yeah.
We don't see the failures that they go through. We only see the pinnacle, we only see the front and how they come. She's shine, you understand?
Yeah.
And we think these people have got it together, but they are human.
Yeah.
They also go through difficulties. You understand?
Even at the time they're shining.
Yeah. But we then think, yo, we crucify ourselves. You understand?
Yeah.
And no, you know.
Even my husband Jay-Z says it. Everybody wants the glory, but no one wants to go through the story.
You understand? Yeah, and before Buba rainbow, there's a storm.
Yeah, it must rain hard.
Exactly. And before Buba the sun shine and it must be dark. And yeah.
Awesome. We all love breakthroughs, and we want to get somewhere.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't like the healing process that goes with getting to a stage in life where you can claim that I have adapted to change. Because change is hard. I think for me, just sitting here, if I'm grateful or I operate from a space of gratitude, I should be grateful that I'm able to sit here with you. There has been progress in the series that I'm now doing a face-to-face interview, and I have all this beauty around me. Life has happened, I'm awake, I am alive, my heart is still beating, I'm able to do things and have conversations with people and listen to their story and share. But the ungrateful me would still be hurt about the fact that I've left my beautiful sanctuary in Cape Town. If I was still in Cape Town, we would be on Zoom right now, you know? So we need to look for those positive elements in everything that happens, because there is a blessing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the fact that with COVID, you've had opportunity to spend time with the wife, you know, improve on the relationship. You've had the opportunity to improve on the relationship with your son. You've had the opportunity to improve on how you look at customers, because your customers are no longer the people that were in corporate, that were the corporate customers, but now you have direct customers. So adapting to change is key, as you mentioned, to get to whatever plans that you don't even know you have. You know, this whole theme of purpose. I have a purpose in life, but you don't know what purpose is when you're in comfort. You need to leave the comfort zone and then discover phases of purpose as well. Because I think the other issue is we think purpose is one thing. We think purpose is boxed, and we need to unbox that, and we're going to find this shiny thing, and then like, oh, this is purpose that God gave me. But I don't think that is what it is. Purpose is a journey as well. Absolutely. It's not a destination. So if we're looking at a theme of adapting to change, what changed in your life?
So I mean, when I look at my journey, and as I've said, Wuti, my roles, you know, while I was in corporate, you know, they changed. You know, I'd be leading a team doing a certain function, but there'd be a restructure, and I'd have to do a certain role, and I'd have to learn a new skill, or I'd have to dig deep and find. Well, I understand. Sometimes I would not know what to do. I'd be thrown into a project management role. I'd have to roll out something that I'd never done before. You know, sometimes I'd have to chair committees and do certain things. You know, so I'd be thrown in deep ends, and I'd have to pull through. And you know, so for me, adapting to change, going through this process, has helped me to retrospect and think again and say, but no man, it's not the first time it happened. Look, I do miss the money.
Of course,
I don't want to lie.
Dude, my account.
So Konamanje, I'm having to count the rands and cents. Before I buy something like I have to. It's only it was simple. So now I'm more conscious of what I do, how I spend, the things that I say and do, because now I see things differently. You know, before, people will be retrenched, like, yo, who's here? It's not here, you know, it's here. But now, because it has happened here, I see things differently, you know. Yes, I'd feel sad for someone who when I'm sitting is unemployed. Now I know how it feels to be unemployed. I mean that.
And do you actually think about the fact that at times when people would say either I can't find a job or I've been retrenched, I'm unemployed, you think because you're working, you know, and things are happening, and you're seeing people come in and out of the building, and you're thinking, go look for something.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna find something tomorrow. Keep looking, send out your CV, and then now you sitting here. I mean, I've been unemployed for 3 years. I'm sitting here, and people will say, "Have you looked for something? Why don't you start something?" And then you're thinking, "Was this me?
Yeah.
Was this me when I used to be employed?"
You know, there's a notion, which we are lazy as a people, especially as a black people, that if you're not finding a job, you are not looking for it.
Yeah.
Right? Or you're not doing anything to find a
Yeah.
job. You know? You find people that are serial appliers.
Oh.
Every day, I've got 2 hours and 3 hours, they send CVs for 10, 15 every day. You understand?
And those rejection letters come.
No, some people don't even get rejection. We understand. So at least when they get a rejection, they feel acknowledged, let alone the interview. You know? So I mean, right now, you know, adapting, I had to not be constricted and say to God, which hasn't fit. You've given me talents.
Yeah.
And the role that I've been doing, so now, which talent are we tapping into? What talent do I have? Because there's this notion of what, you know, our investments in the bank are not creatives.
Oh, yes.
You know, or blue or analysts are not creative. So, now I would not see myself as a creative.
Yeah.
Right? But I had to tap into that and say, no, but let's create something. You know, whatever I can think of. You know, yes, it appeals to me, but you don't know if it will appeal to
someone else.
Yeah, and trying it out and seeing people respond and say, I like this, I love it. Yes, give me a blue in this. You know, and not being constricted to, no, it only comes in black and white.
Of course.
You understand? Allowing and listening to other people, criticizing. You understand? And say, no, this is not, And you know, when you start something, you know, my target market is a certain clique, a certain people.
Yeah.
But you get hit by impama when those people are not buying into the idea, and you are finding someone who's walking and say, I like this t-shirt, I'll tell me how much is it, and they buy it.
Yeah.
So you are now opening your flippers and saying anyone is my client, anyone is my customer.
Of course.
You understand? You are not expecting the sophisticated people to come to your door and knock. You understand? So now how you relate to people is not different.
It's different. It does happen.
We understand.
Yeah.
So you now relate differently to people because of the role that I'm in now. You know. So when we grow up, you know, we are conditioned. Which yes, Kayla, and then you go to varsity, you work, you get married, you die. And now we live in a space where you don't necessarily have one title. You can do broadcasting, you can do this, you can do multiple things. And right now I'm at that space where I can be at home, I can be a father, I can do my online business, I can be a broadcaster, and things that I didn't see myself on radio, right? But right now I'm like, if it's an opportunity, you know, what can we do? While I'm waiting for my breakthrough, what can we do for other people, you know, who are also on the same boat? Because when I'm sitting and I'm thinking, if someone someone that's famous and popular could buy my item and showcase it, you know, I'd be in. You know, that's what goes through my head. And I'm like, but why don't you be that person for someone else? Well, I understand. As much as I'm waiting for someone to open the door for me, why don't you open doors for other people? While you're waiting for your door to be open. And that's how I thought about it. And I was like, okay, dude, let's go. I see it. Because this guy was like, I'll get into it. Here's a show, do it. Are you happy? And I stole for about 2 months. Because I was like, me radio.
Also, yeah.
So me radio, my voice, it sounds terrible. What, you know, I had those naysayers in my mind. But I remembered, when I went through with this tech, I was like saying tech to the naysayers, to the voices that are putting me down. You know, so sometimes our thoughts, our biggest enemy
is the inner voices.
So, exactly. So me going ahead and selling tech was to say tech to the naysayers that are in my mind. You know, tech now. No, I'm gonna fight for my life. I'm gonna do this. You understand? So I was like, okay, let's do this radio thing. Let's see how it goes. The end of being terrified was, how am I gonna deal with those knobs?
With those knobs?
And
like, I still don't know how you do it.
So I was like, you know what, you get you. Just like any other job,
you
will fumble, but you know what, you'll get over it. And what matters to me is not the nitty what, it's the content.
Of course.
If I'm able to catch the audience and sell my story and sell this person, because what matters to me is not even about me, it's about this person that's sitting on the hot seat. If they can sell themselves and sell their business, and someone out there listens and says, you know what, we've got a genuine, then I've done my job. You know what? That's secondary. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, there is so much to talk about. So take me through the process of, because your latest discovered self or talent is motivating others.
Yeah.
It is, you inspire me in terms of radio. I think I've always had the idea of radio, but it always looks scary. Like you were saying, those naysayers will say, but look at the people that are on radio, look at the shows they're doing. Even to get to this point of this series, it took me a while, even with people saying, but you talk a lot, you have these groups, you have this following, do a YouTube channel. And I thought, what will I talk about? I can't be on YouTube every week cooking. I can't be on YouTube showing my holiday or where I'm going. But now I can do it and talk about healing. You know, if we go back to when we met, I think you met me just after my initiation, because remember I was still very goggle and you know, in that phase of shutting up the noise and getting to know myself and getting to know who I am as a healer. And I also had to evolve with the times to get to the point of, I don't need to be endumbeni to heal people. You know, I don't need to always have the claw, the beads. Sometimes healing is a conversation. Sometimes healing is a therapy session. And for you, healing has become the opportunity you give to people that are hustling. You know, I need someone to listen to me. I need someone who believes in me. I need someone who's going to be out there to allow me that platform and the space to sell myself. So this is who you've become. So how do you go through that process on a week in, week out basis and plan to showcase a person?
So maybe let's go back a bit and say, when I looked inside and said, what talents do I have, what can I do, and so forth. So I was thrown in the deep end when a family came through to me and asked me to be an MC at the funeral of a 93-year-old. And I was like, guys, this guy is 3 times my age.
Yeah.
How do I become an MC at his funeral? They said, no, we as a family were asking me. And I said, no, but there's this guy who knows better, who knows this guy better. You know, I named about 5 people. And they said, no, this guy is not available. He's going to Lesotho, Lona, again, coaches of late. You know, they all had, not excuses, but, you know, reasons why they couldn't come. And the family was like, I'm fit, if they go in and I thought, okay, let's do it. And I prepared the way, you know, I would prepare for an event.
Yeah,
you know, usually I would weddings. It's easier to do a wedding.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, you know. But now I had to do a funeral. Right? It was my first time doing a funeral. I had done memorial service.
Oh yeah.
You know. Now this time I was doing an entire funeral service of a 93-year-old. So I had to then create my own style. Okay, how I would like this guy to be remembered. How, you know, so did my own program, whilst the family had their own program, did my own theme, you know, interviewed the family, and so forth, you know. And afterwards, my dad and the old lady came to me and said to me, when we pass away, you are going to be the MC.
Imagine your parents giving you such grief.
So it's time when the lady but I'm fit as in. I'm going to know as in, if I can go with, I don't want to fight with my siblings.
Yes.
You know, sometimes God puts us, you know, we are pushed, and sometimes I think we've been brought up which is be humble.
Yes.
So was jail, so rather about jail. And sometimes now where you have to shine, you don't want to shine because you're waiting to be told.
Yeah.
And time passes, you know. So and then God is like, you know, and life pushes you out of that comfort. So I think at that time that's when I started saying, Kutlwano, you know what? Don't hold back. Whatever comes to your mind, push it and do it.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
So, and just like radio, it was like, Kutlwano, you know what? You can listen to all these noise in your head that says you can't do it. Stop comparing yourself to a Spanish by more flavor, to this, you know, but create your own Kutlwano that you would like to be remembered by, or remembered in whichever way.
Yes.
You understand? Create that and be authentic and be yourself. Now, let's talk about the process again. Now, in my previous role, when I interviewed people for a job, I would say to them, Baba, I'm giving you an opportunity to come into an organization. Alright? I'm going to teach you skills, or you're going to learn certain skills. And these skills are going to propel you to operate in different areas.
Of course.
Right? Now, I'm giving you about 2 years. This is a stepping stone. Hit it and move out.
Okay.
If you're not out of here within 2 years, it's either I'm not doing my job, you're going to ship you out, or you don't have enough ambition.
Imagine having a boss like that.
So Mina, my job was to move people.
Yeah.
Well, I understand. And that's what I was about with you. Learn the skill and get out of here. Learn the skill and move on. So identify what you're good at, identify where you want to be, use this as a stepping stone. So, and part of purpose, some purposes get unraveled, or ziyavulela as you go on.
Yes.
Well, you discover certain talents
As
life
life
happens, and sometimes you discover in an unfortunate circumstance. We understand, and you discover that I'm good at this, Akunamuntu who can speak and then I stand up, I train and then so. And when I thought about it, I said, no, but Kutlwano, you've been doing this wrong, giving people opportunities to move on.
Yeah.
So it's just that it's a different arena.
Yeah.
Not in a corporate, not in an office, and not in front of a desk, in front of a computer, but it's a different space.
True.
So why not? Let's see. And that's how it started happening. So I then said, okay, but when I interview people, we need to do different spaces.
Yeah.
So that we can give people a variety, because you find what there's someone who's like, down and out. How do I start anything?
Yes.
So as Kulmi Nomuntu who started
from
something,
nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
We understand. Let's find someone who started with no capital, who's using their own talent, using their own voice, and boom. We understand. So we on the show we are interviewing different sectors, different capabilities, different strengths, different talents, so that we can give abantu opportunity. Because sometimes omunye umuntu osekasi who's got a talent draw does not know how they can use it, but they've got it. Then you interview someone who's got it and who's using it. It's light to someone's mind, and
Of course. Awesome. Okay, so beyond the process, you will find that there's certain things, like you said, your purpose is unleashed along the way. Your purpose is rediscovered or redefined. I think that is the most appropriate word I can use at the moment. But there's little treasures in everything that we do. Right now, with my journey back to Joburg, it is the idea that you may not think you're good at driving. I think I was freaking out actually when I had to be driving by myself. I called everybody and I asked people to drive with me, and people would say, okay, no, maybe I'll fly in, maybe I'll take a bus. I even waited for my brother. And then I remembered that, when I used to be in corporate, I would work in the Northern Cape, I would work in the Northwest. I would have to drive from Joburg to Rustenburg to Mafikeng to Ventersdorp. I did those driving for corporate because that was what was required of me. But now I'm being a spoiled brat because I must drive from Cape Town to Joburg for myself, And it's those little treasures like trust in yourself, trust in the journey, be with yourself as well. And it was the most beautiful drive ever. And I also had, and we're talking about the pressure that you put on yourself. So you're thinking, okay, so the trip to Cape Town to Joburg is 15 hours according to Google. So now that's what I must aim for. And because that is the 15 hours, so now I must flat food. There's trucks along the way. You need to adapt to, okay, now the journey is slower, now the journey is longer, now I'm tired, sleep. So for once I had to follow those little treasures and find little B&Bs that are cute, meet people that are awesome and helpful. I mean, even just the packing of my clothes and stuff. I rediscovered the use of the guy that used to wash my car. He helped me pack. He would tell me, pack this one, I'll pack the car, okay, move this. So there's little treasures in allowing yourself to be in the space and be present wherever you are, even if it's places that you don't want to be in, even if it's places or spaces that you feel are lower than yourself or are lower than how you think people perceive you. What have been the treasures in your life?
Self-discovery, and I think for me it's been lowering the ego and putting it aside, because that's the first enemy. When it hit me was when I was selling my car and this policeman was doing an affidavit and he's asking me my occupation.
Oh yeah?
So it's when I'm stopped by policemen or traffic officers, where do you work? I work at a bank.
Yeah,
Nyaspana, Uchulanda, so I mean this, I'm head of what,
yeah.
But now this guy was with the individual span. I'm like, ish, like span.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it hit me with the outage.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo. So there's a certain when it comes to belief and how self-importance and esteem and confidence, we have associated it with a career and how much you earn or how much you earn. Now, I needed to understand which, okay, I'm not title.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm happy. Am I not a person?
Are you not alive?
Am I not a human being?
Oh.
But it took me somewhere. You know, when you know, at home, whether you are having a lunch or whether you are doing umgidi or whatever, there's different roles, right? There'll be an MC, there'll be a tent guy, you know, and there'll be an animal that needs to be slaughtered, right? And usually the people that deal with that is the uncles and the grandfathers.
Yeah.
And usually I'm sparred. You have to fetch them.
Yeah.
Where they stay, get the knives, and you know, go buy the kettle or whatever. Nile telana, and then they'll do their thing. You know, cut it up. Yeah, but and then after dice it up, bayenze. Yeah, my old lady, then you wash you all of that, and then there's meat for Abu Baba, and then you need to take them back. You need to get them their beers and so forth. But I realized with him, you know, that knowledge. Priceless.
It is.
We understand. And labo bantu abana title. But umsebenzi will not happen
if
abekho labantu la.
Yeah.
You understand? It's easy to say no, I want to send umcombothi ubani uzophuza. Asiphuze la ekhaya. But those are the guys that bazobaphethe umcombothi baphethe le 20 liter bayiphusha bayishaya. But and when it's all said and done, they will come and clean the yard, cleaning the bottles, what cleaning the yard. You understand? And throwing everything out. With no titles.
None.
You understand? So, for me, that has been my treasure to say, Kutlwano, don't carry the title with you.
Of course.
You understand? Wherever you go. When I left the office, my title was left in the office. You know, I would get into a branch to do whatever admin I was doing, and I would not push my weight around. Do you know where? No. For me,
don't you just love it? Don't you just love it?
It's only when the consultant, then they change in how they treat me. But I would never carry it with me. You understand? Or wherever I go, for that matter, you know, it's that humility that I would carry. Yeah, and with anyone.
Yeah.
And for me, it has always been that. Today, Upambi, Lixasa, you'd be at the back. You know, life in jar.
Yeah.
You know, it's a chance. Now in Salipik City, tomorrow be the lead.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And sitting on the other side and you're watching how things are happening. And you're like, oh, okay, sure. Oh, life is on. You know, seeing things with a different perspective. You know, when you're going through the West.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes because maybe you are used to helping people. Being there, you're the strong one. You're the inspiring one, the motivated one. You're a poster.
I know, what was our slogan? Inspired, motivated, involved.
Yeah.
So now you can be involved.
So, I mean, I read books. I mean, you know, my family knows what and my friends know what you know. And when you're going through that period, you can't even pick up a book. You can't even read a book. You are flat. But, and maybe people think, no, Mnyepz just got it. And you know how it come across, but rightly. And I mean, at that time, I am shattered into million pieces. And I'm thinking, oh, can't I want to why me? Oh, can't
I even hear me?
You understand? Can't I why me? And I mean, you know, when they're going through the West, and they are out of it. Yeah, but then I realized, you know, yes, you have been given the strength to pick yourself up. You understand?
Yeah.
That's why you are there alone.
Yeah.
You understand? That means unamandla ukuzikhipha la.
But it still hurts like a
It is.
motherfucker. Yeah, it hurts like a
motherfucker. Why mina ngibambi?
But you know what's the worst? I think the worst is that you even pick up when people are not well before they even voice it out.
Yeah.
You know, you can sense whoever's been distanced for a while. You can sense who's been quiet. And even if a person does voice out, you would say, hey, get it. You'll be the first to make that call. Because I know you're going through a lot. How are you coping? How are you doing? If maybe in a 5 rand, it's in a guy. If I'm not 5 rand, at least it's too many motivation message. Yeah. But you are that as well. I think most of the time people use the word empath, but you become that absorbs, finds out what people are going through, help them through it. Then when?
So Mina, if someone is going through a situation, like when I put myself in their shoe and I say, what is the... So I look at extremes. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Extreme, death.
Yeah.
We understand. How could I help to avoid that, for instance?
Okay.
And I intervene and I do whatever that needs to be done.
Okay.
And I help in that way because I don't want when the worst has happened, and then I say, "Ish, I could have." We understand. I had the means to assist, and I didn't. We understand. So that's how I operate: is look at a situation and say, "What is the worst that could happen out of this situation?" And then, what would I feel better about? Which, in retrospect, no, but I could have helped. I could have. What could you understand? No, yeah. So, and then that's how I think my spirit is speaking to me to say, when I help in this way, and then I help in that way. So, it's unfortunate then, we expect people to do the same for us.
Yes.
But then the treasure for me was people are not like you. They don't think like you. They are not you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So when they don't see it, when they don't think like that, it does not mean they don't care.
No.
It does not mean they don't. They're not feeling for me or whatever. For all I know, they could be praying, fasting, and doing what for me on my behalf and intervening and interceding.
Yes.
You understand? But because I'm used to doing. I'm expecting now to do the same. So I have to teach myself with you are clothed in a certain way, or your makeup is different.
Yeah.
It means you've got the pickup. You can pick yourself out of that situation and take yourself out. So find it in you somewhere.
Yeah.
Your strength. And take yourself out.
Yeah. Yes, that's the things we keep learning. The things we keep learning, and I think the things that we also tend to value are different as people. So. If we even take it to the point of love language, without getting into relationships, but I think we relate to people a lot, and what we touched on is help. So helping is a means for some people of a love language. So I help by showing up, I help by gifting people, I help by giving time. So then the question is always, and it's one of the things that we tend to ignore in terms of what we need to heal about ourselves, but I need to understand that if I show up and gift people and give time, am I doing it because that's the language that Kutlwano would appreciate as my friend? Or am I doing it because I anticipate that if I'm in a jam, that's how I want Kutlwano to show up? So some of the things we kind of need to heal about ourselves is what we value. And question whether, am I valuing this because it's my value, or am I valuing it because this is how I want people to treat me? And is there anything or any part of your values that you find have shifted?
So, as I said when I started, when I meet my maker, I want him, when he looks at the scorecard and say, Kutlwano, I sent you to Earth to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this incident happened. You were supposed to help that guy. Well, understand? And that's so. For me, it's not Lomuntu will pay me back. No, it's not for that. It's that it's from a people's perspective. So I ask myself, why am I in this situation?
Yeah.
I understand. Why Lomuntu are in this situation and I'm aware of it? Why are they making me aware of it? You understand?
Yes.
So, and do I have the means to assist? Do I have the means to change the outcome?
Yeah.
You understand? It's not for me, but it's for that situation and for that person. You understand? Because I'm fully when job yakho, this was your job. By the way, besikunikeza lezaka ukuthi wena usize labantu.
Oh my God.
We understand. So that's so from a value system, and it's hard. Sometimes I'll go, I'm now looking out for me, number one.
Yeah.
But I sit and I ask myself a question and I say, purpose does not care. It does not care about you.
No. Purpose is not about you.
Yes. Purpose does not care about you. It does not care about how you feel. If purpose says, go help this person, and the person is your enemy,
you better.
We understand. Purpose will send you to someone to his spouse, lady, you understand. And purpose sends you there to say, go help this person. You understand?
And I gotta apologize.
Yeah. You understand?
Oh my gosh.
And I need to go and sort it out and to track or help her with the tire, whatever the case is. But people say, go help this person. What? You understand? Yeah. So and I think about it that way. And from a value chain perspective, I value time now. I value life.
Yeah.
I look at COVID and how it is cleaned up.
Yes.
It's ravaging. how much damage it has done from an economic perspective, from a life perspective. You understand? So where I still say thanks, Nabazali, I still say thanks, family, Sapelele, you know, it doesn't make damage like
you haven't felt damage so close to.
Yeah, you know, my son says to me, from my part of COVID.
Yeah.
So my mother-in-law and father-in-law part of COVID, right? So they ship him back to our house because he was visiting. So when he comes over, he was at his uncle's with and like one uncle, so why are you bringing me back? So they're, you know, like guys, I know what's happening. You know, grandma and grandpa got COVID, that's why you bring me back. But he also knows which his mother's got COVID at that time. So he says to me, Dad, so what's going to happen? So no, her immune system is going to pick up, going to give her vitamins and blah blah blah. He says no, but what's going to happen when both of you die? Because you must remember at that time, COVID, only knew which way.
Yeah. Hey.
So
let's not get into those stories.
So on that day, I said to my wife, I'm moving out of the bedroom. Yeah, I'm going to sleep in the guest bedroom. I'll tell me, we are going to sanitize, we mask up, we go in, mask puma, we sanitize, we wash our hands. I've never seen my son wash his hands so much.
Oh, was he doing the happy birthday to you? Oh my God, the things that made us do with that COVID.
But for me, my wife was not happy with that decision, but I had to say, what's the responsible thing to do? This guy is asking an important question.
Huge. And you were not even ready to answer it, right?
But I had to give him assurance and reassurance. We are going to make a best decision. We're going to pray that your mother becomes well. But I can't no, because the vows say, hey, my wife, what if Sporasi too? And then what's going to happen to him? No, so I'm not saying if I am fine, but I must think ahead. I cannot get and born and what if Mina, I've got a weak immune system, and then if Roya survive, but in a young dog. You understand?
Yeah.
And at that time, I still have an opportunity to go to beside you. You understand? So it's those things that I value now. You know, it's hard. You know, when I think of the times I used to leave work, you know, I'd get to work at 6 in the morning.
Oh yes.
So that means I would have woken up at 4:30, left home at 5:30 so that I can be at work at 6. And I would work. So then I'd have to leave work at about, let's say, 3:30. But I would so entangled in work that it was 6 o'clock. So I would have been there for 12 hours. Excuse me. Then I would decide, man, what's another 4 hours? I mean, what, 10? Or sometimes 12, or sometimes 2 a.m. at work.
Gosh, don't remind me of those days.
So, but I was in a groove. You know?
And it worked, right? Because you would think, oh, it's 6 p.m. now, it's quiet in the office, everybody's gone, I can push my work. Gosh, why
I enjoyed it.
I loved it too, but it was unhealthy still.
So when I sit back and I think and I say, now I'm asking myself, Kutlwano, why don't you put those same hours to your business? Why don't you put those same hours to your family? Why don't you understand? Because I missed so much time, I didn't see the first time my son took out his tooth. I didn't see it because I was on my way back home in Spa.
Yeah.
I missed that. You understand? So I missed other milestones in his life, and he had a relationship with Oli Laki because they left for school together. She picked him up. You understand? So I came back home. So by the time they woke up, I was out.
Yeah.
By the time I returned, they were about to go to bed. So I would not see them.
Hey.
So now I have a relationship with him. You know, we play volleyball together. I watch his anime when he does his cuts, what. You know, he shows me stuff, and you know. But I'm now involved in his projects. I go print his schoolwork. You know, we do a bit of maths together. We struggle, whatever the case is. But you know, I ask him how his day is. You know, in the morning we pray together. You know, so those I'm valuing that, spending time with him. You know? I mean, spending time with my wife as well. I mean, sometimes I feel like, I'm tired. You know, and I'll be like, no,
she said it.
No, she doesn't. I need to expand. So in the morning I'll make sure I make a coffee. So every morning I make a coffee. Yeah, and then I know what after a meeting.
So is this how you peer support her?
Yeah. So I know what Ufuda eat coffee in the morning when she wakes up. Yeah, but before for a meeting. So I'll make a coffee. I know after the meeting Uzofuna coffee. Yeah. So sometimes she want to have biscuits. Then she doesn't eat. 12 o'clock, midday. After midday, then I know she'll, send me something, and then she'll do the cooking. Because when I'm given the thoughts, I know. No, I wouldn't yashisa. La bantu bala kule ndlu le ama experts. Mawucala ubeka inyama but hey, what's the butter, what's the garlic, what's the what one? Yabo.
And you are one of those people bakule ndlu.
No, but Mina, I don't criticize like Mina Manzala ni dege stofin. Already you hear those comments.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So yeah.
Don't worry, you'll get into that role soon.
So I do his captain, I'll make him his lunch, I'll make sure he's fine, you know. So for me, as much as I can alleviate and take out pressures from her, you know, so that she focuses on work. Oh yeah, I know it's already stressful, you know, span or whatever the case. Then yeah, but I'll be away maybe for a couple of hours, maybe I gotta do some errands.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, how can you? Maybe like how she's missing me. How shame. How I mean I'm thinking in my mind I'm giving her space.
Yeah, she loves your participation in her and support.
Yeah, then everything, you know, but I value that, you know. Yeah, it's kind of that we've never spent so much time together. You
That's
know,
great.
in our marriage, because the fallacy is Spanish.
Busy.
But I think it has given us a sense of life. What do you want?
Yeah.
How can we make our space beautiful? What can we do? You know, we renovated, you know.
Yeah.
She'll not happy at some point about it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Nobody wants renovation and the stress, but you like the way it looks after.
So sometimes we just have to press on through that space and time.
Then everything is fine.
But it's about the roles and sharing, you know, and it's not about what, you know, I'm the head of the family, I must push some statue. No, you know, to be honest, you know, there was some time where I felt as much as or I was saying, you know, and but that was my ego speaking.
Yeah.
You know, and look, my son, I had not told him what impedance is bad, but he could see that he's not always talking.
He's not living any, he's not coming.
No, I said I'm a plastic, you want merchandise. Like, no, I'm selling these things, merchandise, I'm selling. People are buying your stuff. Say, do you know these people? I don't know them. They really do them, you know. But and I used him as, you know, what do you think of this? Do you think it will sell? He'd be like, no, Daddy, you know. Or and my friend would say, be honest, would you buy it? Lender with your owner?
Yeah.
It's a icon, but when you listen and you look at it and say, okay, maybe I wouldn't. So let me create something that I would
love
and put my into, you know. So equality, you know. So I use them as my sounding board.
Yeah.
You know, inspiration, you know, braining, you know. It's things that we don't think about. I look at him, he's smart. Sometimes, you know, Tina, as a woman, we don't, as I said, standard humility.
Yeah.
You know, we don't.
You're not gonna say actually I'm an intelligent somebody.
Yeah, we understand. So, but why not? Why is it easier to?
Why can't I tell people that I'm brainy?
I'm genius. Why not? I know you.
No, I yes, what's in your
and you're proud to say it. But what's wrong with being a nerd? You understand? I mean, look at now. We are led by net.
By net.
Zuckerberg is a net. Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. We understand. Bill Gates. These are nerds. The world has shifted that way, where these software people are running the world. It's no longer
telling us how to breathe.
WhatsApp,
dude. Like even this series, it took a while to even set up for this, and life had come to an end.
Yeah. So imagine working on WhatsApp.
Yo.
I told my customer, I told my client, it's a keeper. No one is ordering. So here's I can't respond to my clients. And I'm thinking, but why can I not reflect on my son and say, but in fact, you're brilliant, or smart, what? Yeah. Because we need to be their cheerleaders.
Yes.
Imagine this. How many kids have lost their dreams because someone said we sleep, we storm, awukhona ukubala, awukhona ukufunda, i1 plus 1 iyahlula. Understand? Umuntu ayikhathe off emails athi numbers are not mine. Khona manje mawucala uthi change pay ya woman mfethu.
Mara change as really taxing by
no, that's make down. Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's those things that we're not aware which the power of the tongue is so powerful.
It is.
We think we are just saying it, but it could be cementing and it grows. And
it does.
When they turn out in life, no, it was our So if we are realizing that we can do so much damage, why cannot speak life into our kids, into our families, into life itself?
And I think even in terms of how we participate and support the people that are our peers, whether it's peers in business, whether it's peers as women, as men, how do we help build each other is very key. Yeah. And the people that you choose to be in your life, I think one of the treasures I've had now is, who do you bring into your life and how do they make you feel? This is how you start filtering your friends or your close circle. Because you need people that you don't always need people that are going to validate your thoughts, because sometimes your thoughts are gack. You need people that are going to push you when you're doubting yourself. You need people that are going to encourage you when you know you are in that spot where you think, no, I can't. And you need people that are going to tell you, I know you're growing a big kid now. Slow down, humble yourself, do things right. But we need people that are going to be that pathway for our rivers to flow. You can't have a boulder that's now always going to blah, blah, blah. No, you just need people who are going to say, okay, curve here. All right, no, you're getting the flow is too fast. The current is going too slow. But support. Do you get support in any of your business ventures?
Absolutely. I mean, the guy that gave me the opportunity to host my show in Remwale, he didn't know me from a so he interviewed me on his show, and he liked me, and he thought, why not? You understand? So it's people like those that are able to have an eye of discernment or spirit of discernment and say, I want something. You understand? Okay. So it's important to have those people in our lives. My family has been tremendous supporters. I've said my wife and son. My family at large, they've bought his Sami, whether it's or not, but they've bought it. For the sake of, So, and and how I sold it, for me, it wasn't about support. I was selling an item. So, I'm saying you are buying what you like. You are not supporting. You understand? So, I would see that they wear the stuff, so it's not support. Maybe Maliabo, but they wear the stuff and they refer and people like it and they get me customers. You understand? And they get me customers. So the business grows because of their referrals, and not necessarily about me. You understand? The clients that I've gotten, a lot of them are not from me. It's from them and their referrals. So they've helped in that way. And some that are not physically buying, they would share their stories with me. Say, Don hasn't, when I went through 1, 2, 3, but in a general conversation, and I would pick up, I'm a nuggets lab time, and the uncle is talking to me about this. I was so Italian. I was like, do I tell them I'm retrenched?
You do go through that. You keep quiet.
Who do I tell? What do I tell?
Do I have to tell them?
Do I tell them I was going through depression? So there's a lot of, in mental health right now is now a subject that we are now freely talking about. Italian, it was a taboo. But when I interviewed my little sister, she said she was depressed. I was like, how did I not know it's the big brother? So now we're now handling each other with care. How we speak to each other.
Of course.
Sometimes it's easier to go out, but when you think, maybe this person could be going through a lot, and that's how they are venting out or they're acting. Sometimes it's easy to say, yes, but what if that person is also going?
We are going. We all are going these days.
So people are going, and so we also need to allow people to go through, and we go through stuff differently. You understand? We're not all going to handle it the same way. Some people will be free to speak about it, and some would be, let me handle my ish.
And then show up. Hey, that's not great. I have the theory, and it came to me as I was busy with these interviews, that and I think I love reiterating it, that when we are young, we are sent to school, we learn how to speak, you learn how to walk, good or bad, we shape people in societal expectations, right? But all of that is the life lessons that we sit here as adults and remember, when I was young, that uncle that used to say this either built me up or they broke me down, and I lived to prove the people right or the people wrong. But it was all part of life lessons. And you don't realize those things until they come up in your space. Why in Kalafambula so? Oh damn, there's that voice that said you are stupid, like you were saying. You will not amount to anything. When I give me yada yada. And then you have people that will always say, they slim, and it doesn't help as well, because the pro of someone saying slim is that you're going to live up to being slim, or you're going to added pressure to yourself because you think I should be slim. Why is life becoming difficult? Why am I not overcoming challenges? Because Miss Slim almost. But all of those things are life lessons. And when we're older, we get paid for life lessons, because you will get a job, it will give you life lessons. But whether you focus sometimes on just the money and forgetting the lesson that came with it. But if you think about it, half of the things we use now, even this interview, is the fact that I was once a facilitator. I had that as a profession, and if I did not take that as a value and a treasure that I can use anywhere else in life, I could just only be sitting and putting on CV with a facilitator and stop there. You know, you've been able to coach people, you've been able to encourage people, you've been able to evaluate people. All of those skills are part of your life lessons that you can use in what we tend to say private life. And life is life. It's just at some point you play a different role. At some point you face a different challenge. It's how you show up. It's how you act. So do you have any pearls of wisdom that has come with life lessons?
You know, I think for me, you're always striving. You understand? You're always an exceed, you're nandi, you understand? And now, when you get a stumbling block or hindrance or something like this happens, and you feel like a failure, right? And you need to pick yourself up, and you feel sorry for yourself, and you ask yourself, no matter why this thing happened to me. And I look at great people like Abu Mourinho, who'd be set, you know, because or whatever the case is, and people are not performing, and then they would fire him. And I would say, but if it happened in that spectacle at that level, if it happens to me, I'll get over yourself, man. I'll get over yourself. I think that is lesson number one, is to get over yourself. You understand? You understand? The people that you're looking up to have also had their fair share of flops. And actually, this is the beginning. You'd actually be grateful that it happened, so that now you can fly it again. Because their lives also, you understand? And they picked up after they fell, you understand? Or things turned out, whatever. So, number 2 or number 3, would you have patience? Okay. You understand? Have patience. Sometimes we become so hard on ourselves because we've got a plan. You know, millions of people must respond in this way, people must do this way, because I'm paying, I'm expecting the service, because this is the service I give or that I gave. You understand? It's a different industry. You understand? A bank is spoken a certain way, we dealt, you know. So, I mean, it means an example. When I started dealing with these guys that are doing my printing and so forth, we have got 2 minute spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet. You understand? These are the colors I have, large size, what. Spreadsheet does not mean anything to me. You will take then a paper, write it, irons on my block.
And it's like same, but you can criticize.
But you know, and I would say, okay, so you're articulating in that way, okay. Then I needed to, you know, understand which now dealing with people about different.
Everyone has an advanced Excel.
We understand. So, and I also started to for me, not even all of it for me. So we realized, which okay, it's okay. So we're not seeing things the same way. So I had to, okay. So the other thing, I mean, when I got a graphic designer, I used to have a challenge with the Outbeing Spanner before. I'd give him an idea, he would go after the graphic design and articulate the message. It's not what I told him or what I said. Okay. So there was that break. So it would frustrate me. But at least now, with this new guy that I got, I'm a graphic designer. I'm telling Gucci, these are my thoughts, this is what I see. He articulates it in an art form. You understand? So I'm learning. Okay. Those kinds of things. Ideally, we would like to own the entire value chain. Your business, from start to finish.
Okay. Yes.
But then you realize that when you're involved, you know,
there is a lot.
A lot of money and investment. But then it means now you need to research. You understand? And find a niche and find a space where you would like to play and to be. You understand? And so for me, it's still about learning fabric. You understand the print, the different types of prints and technologies. Wara. I understand the Korea. I'm still learning all those logistics.
How to use them.
And how to handle money have creditors, you have creditors and debtors, you have a book, so I'm learning all those things.
And then when I got an email that said, as from next week, I think it's the 10th or something, for the business, my 5 cents, text what is doing my text. I'm not even making money. Why are you asking me for text? So you gotta learn those things.
So for me, I'm still learning those, and I'm saying to myself, no, don't ask for the pressure, because nalaba abantu that you're aspiring. You
don't know what they got exposed to, right?
So uqale at an office enetafuleli one itulezi two bangena next banefone nje kuphela and a pad. Now they've grown to what they are, to a production yakhoti but bacalela. You understand? Alex Ferguson, before he won his first title in the Premier League, it took him 7 years. You understand? But in sifuna ukuthi mawuqala ushaya, you want to hit the ground running, you want to be successful. No.
Influencer status.
No. You understand? So yes, it's good to aspire to, autistic grandies and people that are making,
oh my gosh,
there's labels like Abuma Chans. I'm like, wow, these guys, when I look at that and I'm like, yo, people are creating. I need to go back to the drawing board. What I'm doing, I know you understand? I must really, really go deep down and do really, great stuff. So that's when I realized, there's time to be clear. And sometimes this is just a stepping stone to something greater and bigger.
You don't know which part of the value chain you're going to end up at.
So for me, it's being open to possibilities, and it's not like, as a spanning, as you said, facilitate, you gotta facilitate. Even when you look for a job, open a job, facilitator. You understand? But now I'm in a space that not broadcasting, what voice over, you understand? So because the time is there, So
it is. We wouldn't have this time to talk like this.
Yeah.
Any parts of yourself that you want to develop further, that you consciously want to develop further, or do you think, at the point of just flowing, right now, whatever comes, whatever spirit says do, you will flow with it?
No, I'm learning. Look, in my previous role, I interviewed a whole lot of people. But one of those interviews was to give someone a job. You understand? Now I'm interviewing people for them to showcase their stuff, right? To put them on the map and be their own billboard. It's sort of similar to expanding, because you're giving this person an opportunity to say, sell yourself. You understand? But now this time it's on a platform, a broadcast. So I'm still learning that skill of interviewing people at that level. So because I'm used to emceeing and I'm seeing the people, so I can read the room.
My gosh, yes.
I can read the room. To they're not laughing at my jokes. Then I need to, But now radio is different. You're not seeing your audience.
You're just looking at the knobs.
We understand. And I'm like, so imagine if I was doing an interview on a call, I'm not even seeing this person.
Yes.
So I'm still learning those things. So for me, it's still that nurturing, self-development. So I'm still learning Kutlwano and the talents that he has. What can we do with his talents? We understand. So we are MC and Vito. Was there radio, but what else can you do with this voice?
Of course.
Yeah. So where can I take it?
Where can you take it? Yes, because I also want to know what is next for Kutlwano.
Israel, the actor Israel, tag.
Oh yeah.
I was watching this podcast and he says, be careful of what you tell people about your next move.
Yes.
And by a lawyer. You tell them what's your next move, and they bob high.
You still have that keys overall.
Problem was.
Oh my God, guys.
Okay. So mind you, it's a surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm thinking, when I unleashed this, people did not know what. Hey, Mnyepz, they were like, hey. How?
I remember this journey.
Yeah, so even radio, they're like, how? You already? So I think let's keep the surprises coming. Yeah, let's keep the surprises flowing.
And you know what it does? It pushes you to get to the next surprise. I think that's what it is.
How so?
Because sometimes when you tell people, for example, last week when I was traveling, I was freaking out because then I was supposed to travel Monday, and in my head, Monday I travel, Tuesday I get to Joburg, I'll rest a bit, but by Wednesday evening, I would have had the time to edit my episode and put it on YouTube. I've set an expectation. People know what to expect out of me. So then I put pressure on myself to, hey, I must be now on the YouTube before the end of Wednesday, So that is the difference between telling people what's coming, when it's coming, because then you set that expectation. And sometimes it's even on yourself. Because until you set them a reminder, with, hey, listen, Ghana, the YouTube thing is on now. Then they go there. Yeah. But they didn't really think about it's Wednesday.
Let's raise it.
Yeah. So sometimes when you really put out expectations, I truly get where you're coming from. Then you want to surprise yourself because you're thinking, okay, so next week I don't really need to make it on a Wednesday, but I can plan, now let's do it face to face. Which day would work for face to face? It will still be on. It helps you open up to creativity versus now if this is my limited time, I can only put it out as this, versus if I just give it whenever, I can give my time to create whatever that will be worth the wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, no, we don't want them to know. It will be a surprise. If it's anything that is worn, guys, you will see me with it because I love promoting beautiful items. I love talking to you, so I'll be there when you say, I'm ready, Chum, I'm ready for the interview. I'll do the next interview, right? I'll do the next interview.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think a lot of the things we've covered today, they may not look or sound so apparent. But when we talk about healing, especially healing in the space of men who were told men should not cry, from the boys, actually, not even men should not cry. Boys don't cry, men don't show emotions, you can't wear your heart on your sleeve, be brave, be strong, which ends up just boosting your ego instead of helping you deal or confront the issues that you're faced with. But when life gives you a challenge, you have no choice but to adapt. And I think that this has been the key conversation for today, that you've learned to adapt, you've learned to adjust to who Mnyepz is beyond the ego, materialistic perception of a guy that society sets for men. And this is a new person. This is a person that moved from when you probably were a person that would describe yourself, you'll say, I'm analytical, I'm great with finance, I lead well, I can run teams, yada yada yada. You never thought of yourself as, all these ego related things. And then now you're a softie, you're a father, you're a lover, you're the coffee maker, you're the considerate, creative person that needs to think about people, that wants to help people out, and those are things that you probably were not pushed into prior to having the moment or the opportunity to introspect. So I am so happy to still journey with you as your friend in all your self-discoveries. Thank you, my friend, for doing this with me. Woo!
Places
and spaces.
No, it's discussions with or talks with men in because last we are connected other people, right? How our great how they were brought up, how they were treated, and it made them the men that they became.
Yes.
And this thing filtered down. And I was saying to my little sister, I'm happy that as the last born, she relates, and my dad does so much for her, or he's doing whatever he's doing for her. But I'm happy because it means as a family we are growing. If my dad was treating her the way he treated my man, then we would not have been growing as a family. We'd still be on the same. You understand? But I'm happy that she's able to relate to him in the way that she relates to him. It means the timer you couldn't one mistake that he has done first, second, third. You understand? So he's improving as well, and he's growing as a person. So, I mean, it's easy for me to say to my son, "I love you." I say it every day, right? With no shame, with no hug. I love you. We understand. I love you too, Daddy. We say we love each other every day. We understand. But for me to say to my dad,
short time.
Yeah, understand. So, and now for him, we talk about it in a third person. But
it doesn't apply.
But you understand.
Oh my God, how are we as humans?
So, and he said it to me, I love you, I love you too. Or or maybe we like conversation must say drop out. I love you too. But stop your phone. But I'm just saying with you, I think it will change with the generations to come, how we relate. How I relate to my wife, because my son, that's how he, in his mind, what marriage is. So I'm very, very particular or peculiar or whatever, how I show up.
Yes.
You understand? Sometimes I clean up in your mopa and I say to him, and I'm not doing it because I'm your slave or I'm a helper or whatever. No, I'm showing you that whatever I'm doing is not a gender-based role.
Yeah.
You understand? It means that you can also do it. I'm teaching him for him to make ukudla. It's not what you No, it's for survival. He needs to know how to make his own food. You understand what I'm saying? Or for him to clean up his room or clean up it's for him. You understand? So and how I relate to him. And it's okay for him to cry when he cries. I mean, I don't say boys don't cry. No, cry when you need to, let it out. Don't bottle it in. When you've got something to say it. it's a bit tricky because they've got words.
Oh,
they're able to articulate and describe what they're feeling. This is us. Yeah. My son will say, I'm anxious. You're anxious? What do you mean you're anxious? No, when I was writing the Zulu exam, I had anxiety. Anxiety, yes. Yeah, I understand. Tina, we didn't,
No, you don't use that.
Yeah, so at least they're able to articulate exactly what they are feeling. And so it's how then we respond as parents or guardians to say, okay, how do we respond? And not to judge and not to ridicule or whatever the case. Yes, we must still seem cool, and put them in line, whatever the case. It's the how we do it.
Yes.
We shouldn't put out the light. We shouldn't put out the light. Yeah. So it's difficult as a go-getter, as a pusher, when he says, oh, I got A, 70%, it's a good score.
Of course, I passed.
And I'm like,
the pass mark was 50, I got 70, I'm like, I did great.
And it's like, no, they don't ask me the others, why I couldn't get those others, how I couldn't. And so he'd rather speak to his mom because she'll relate. He knows what to mean. And again, the first question will be, that 30%,
yes.
How do you think you can get it the next time? What went wrong? I'm already in the fixing. This is celebrating with Umdana 27 or Umdana 29. And I'll be like, the 10%. And to him, he's like, I'm pressurized.
Like, why?
He once said to me, I'm a normal kid. Okay. I'm not one of those rich kids.
Wow.
So let me be. And, if I had said that to my dad, probably, So I had to sit back and think about it and say, okay, maybe he spoke out of turn or whatever, but is the truth in what he said?
Yeah.
Am I pushy? Am I putting pressure on him? How I'm bringing him up? What? So, but we have those talks. I mean, careful. You don't just hug people.
Yeah.
You need to ask for permission.
And at this stage, gosh.
So it's the talks that we need to have with him, and continuously and repeatedly to say, hey, you need to ask for permission. You can't just do this in respect. I mean, how I speak to my wife. I'm in my mind. I'm hoping that he's taking.
You are modeling the right behavior.
Yeah, because
that's all we expect from parents. That's all we expect from parents. Ladies and gentlemen, the two of us will talk until Jesus comes back. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you very much for tuning in. Please do like, comment, subscribe, invite your other friends. Leave us a comment. What do you think? What have you adapted to in terms of change? Think COVID, think your job, think your relationships and how you relate to people, your relationship with money even. We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot through the past years. He's couples bay, and I used to be a rich auntie, and that is our inside joke. But when we were going through our stand of depression, we couldn't even use those terms, and it felt, and it really hurt. It really hurt. But we're still here.
We're still here.
We're still good, and we haven't changed. Our attitudes hasn't changed. I think how we talk down to ourselves has changed, but we haven't changed. We still have the same attitude that we had as Mr. Vacation Bay with the family, and the rich auntie. I'm still the rich auntie. I'm still the one that does TikTok with my nieces and nephews.
I'm grateful. I mean, the opportunities that life has given us to travel, to see the world at the time that we could, and I cherish those moments.
Yes.
And for me, that's special. We tend to, because we are chasing, we end up not cherishing the moments and what we've achieved.
Yeah.
Because you want this TV. Now you've got the TV. Now you're not even enjoying the TV. You're thinking about the next thing that you want.
Yeah.
You understand? By the time you get the car of your dreams, when you're inside, you're not thinking of the next model.
Hey.
You're now waking. So you're not even enjoying this. So, this opportunity has given me the time to enjoy the moment. Enjoy the little things that matter. You understand? Enjoy the couch, enjoy the space. You understand? Just enjoy and just be present and be in the moment.
Of course.
Yes, we are hoping. Yes, we are hopeful. Yes, we are aspiring. Yes, we've got vision boards. We want to achieve. We want to fly. But hey, we are where we are right now. So for now, let's cherish, let's enjoy, and still keep on dreaming and continue working on whatever that's in us. What's been bestowed upon us, Maybe it's a good thing the borders are still locked.
Oh yeah.
So
because the anxiety will be going up.
It's a good enough reason why we are not flying out. The borders are closed.
We can understand. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, no, you can't go.
We can't go anywhere.
Yeah, you
It's
can't go.
not like,
You can't go to Europe because there's COVID.
You know?
Wow, you can't be traveling. So
We have excuses for the things
I
that
know
we
for
can.
sure. No, I mean that's what is being. I want to tell you COVID. COVID.
Who would?
How?
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
get it.
come
I
on
totally
now.
get
How?
Until our next trouble,
Sure,
for all the things that you are taking part in right
Yeah.
now and enjoying and learning from, all the best.
Same to you.
Keep growing.
Yeah.
And until our next episode, please keep tuning in. Please keep referring and
Subscribe.
Yes.
Share.
Please,
Subscribe.
please.
Invite. Call. Grow this thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
And in the caption, you will also find the streaming link for Mnyepz's program. Is it called a program? Is
Show.
it called a show? A talk show.
Yeah.
Yes. Kutlwano Africa.
Pushamo Africa, push
Yes.
African child, where we unleash Africa's potential. Be your own billboard.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Only on Talk Radio. Eastern.net/Talk Media. Yeah.
Okay, if you didn't catch any of that, I will have the link on the caption so that you can tune in every Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
and listen to Mnyepz pushing more Africans
Absolutely.
to do and be
Yeah.
their best.
Yeah.
Until next time, I'm sending you so much love and light.
Adios. Cheerio.
You are too hilarious.